Welcome back, guys. All I got to say is I really hope you've been paying attention to this show. See the numbers on the screen. They speak for themselves. I had a fantastic week last week. Larsen had a fantastic week last week. I finished at 20-6. Where did you end up?
20-6. Wow. I was 10-5 and could have been a little bit better. Mississippi State had won. That was the one game that really pissed me off on Saturday. But a good week. Take 10-5 all the time and having a really good season so far. So
yeah, I'm definitely going to try to cool down as many plays as I have this week. In response, I gamble responsibly. I did cut my unit sizes in half when I have weeks like this when there's just so many.
yeah.
So we'll start off with Louisville Moneyline. I think we were both on that. They could have won that game. Really just some sloppy football there at the end. And it became clear at some point that they weren't as safe a bet as I thought.
Well, yeah. Malik Cunningham's accuracy is not really what I would like it to be. And I mean, I knew what I was getting into with their defense when I bet them. But my God, their defense is just brutal. And they've got Jordan Travis. I hope he gets better because I really liked him. I mean, their backup comes in. How classic is it for us to get cooked by their backup? And they've got Randy Moss. Johnny Wilson's insane. He's that guy's nuts, insane. Man. So that was a tough loss, but it is what it is.
Well, then we peeled off about 7 or 8 wins in a row, at least by the calendar. Yes. We were both on Georgia -24. I also took Georgia -7 first quarter, and I took them first half. I was betting Georgia every which way, and they came out and dominated. That was a great game.
Yeah, that was good for us to see that and see Brock Bowers do his thing. I wouldn't say I was like a little nervous, but there were a few guys ruled out. Like Mitchell was out, and Carter was a little banged up, but the guys come in it's all in rhythm, and they just play so well. And every week I look at the opponent's team total, and I tell myself I have to bet it under, and then I talk myself out of it somehow, and I don't know why.
Because you think it's going to be garbage time.
I think it is, yeah. And I need to just bet the team total unders every single time because I end up just getting in my own head about it, and especially with Spencer Rattler. I mean, he's not good. The jury was out on him for a second. I think they're back in. He's not good at all.
I've been there since day one, man. I've been trying to tell folks. I mean, I've watched a little bit of that film, man. He passed on so many checkdowns that they really could have used, man. They just needed to get something going on offense, and he just refused to let that happen. And that's why you got the result that you got.
Yeah, and we were talking about this during the game. I just love the relentlessness that we have under Kirby Smart, and it goes back years. It goes back to even that 2017 season, where just these games that are blowouts, they try so hard and they celebrate and they hype each other up for big plays. I just love to see that, especially at South Carolina, because I absolutely hate them. I love going in there.
I despise South Carolina, man. They're underrated. I've said this before. Underrated, very bad fan base. A play that's been good to me this year. Michigan first quarters. Michigan -10.5 first quarter. That one was easy money. I think Connecticut had like 8 yards, something along those lines.
Yeah.
It got a little hairy there for a second, but Michigan held on 10.5. They didn't give up a touchdown. UConn got the ball with a couple seconds. They didn't move it at all, so we were good on that. And then Western Kentucky +7. That one it hit. That was disappointing. I thought Western Kentucky was going to win. They kind of let that one get away with them.
Yeah, that was a little nervy, but I'm glad they could pull it out in the end. It needs to be said about how gross Michigan's non-conference schedule was. Just pitiful to play literally 3 of the 5 worst teams in college football. So they'll actually get not even a real test, but they'll get their first test with Maryland. I'll be interested to see that one. But yeah, Michigan first quarters, that it might be over now that they're going to start playing some conference teams. But yeah,
just team
what a good
totals,
one.
Yeah. This is okay. Well, we got to talk about this game. This is the one I was excited to talk about. Syracuse, our Syracuse Orange, and the over from the depths of hell. This was a 10-9 game in the third quarter, and they hit 57.5. That might be one of the greatest wins of my life. And Syracuse, I had Syracuse money line, and I mean, forget the win, man. The over coming out of absolutely nowhere. That was one of the craziest games I've ever seen in terms of something to have action on. That was a huge win. I was very pleased with that one.
I totally gave up on the over. It was 9. Because I watched the highlights last night. It was 9-3 with 2:12 left in the third quarter. It was 9-3. All my eggs were in the Syracuse money line basket, and Syracuse
I just
scores.
needed him to win to make back what I was going to lose on the over. Yeah,
exactly. Well, so Syracuse scores to go up 10-9, and I'm thinking, finally they'll win this game 10-9. That's all we needed was the first score, and then it was just trade. The throw that Schrader makes at the end is an absolute dime. It was beautiful.
The one that was out of bounds, after that, I was like, oh, no, like, we're actually done now. I'm going to lose both. And then he hits the next throw, and I didn't say a word. Beautiful. I just, like, fell to my knees, and everybody in the room knew that I had it, and they were freaking out. I couldn't speak. I was so excited.
It really is. Like, I have a list on my phone, actually, of, like, the best and worst, the wins and losses that I've had, and that is now at the top of the list. That's one of the better ones I've ever had. I mean, just out of nowhere. And for the over, like you said, just to be totally dead through that game. I know Chase had a very irresponsible amount of money on the over, so he was happy. That's a great win.
That turned a good day into a great day. See, if I'd lost those two, 18-8, that's still a good day. This was a great day. That you got to have one of those if you're going to have a great day. And then one of my biggest actually, I'll go another bet that this is my fastball. This is when I'm going to the well. Alabama first quarter -12. Easy. Block punt really sealed that one. They would have got it.
But they didn't hit first half. I had first half. They didn't hit that. So
yeah, it used to be Bama first half. I think it's just Bama first quarter now.
Maybe so.
And then one of my biggest disappointments of the day, obviously I didn't have too many. I don't have much to complain about. Auburn +3. I knew this was a bit of an emotional bet. This one was a kind of, let's see if I can sound smarter than everybody else. I kind of knew Auburn wasn't a good play. But I wanted a little action on it, and I thought Auburn could come out and win, but no.
Yeah, I think the thing that threw me off the scent for the game was I talked to a lot of texting a lot of people before the game, and every single one of them gave me the same exact reason. They said Auburn's the pick because Penn State's not going to go to Jordan-Hare and win because that place is so crazy. If everybody's saying that, right? If everybody's saying that, then I had to go against it. And Penn State's not a scrub team. I think everyone agreed Penn State's the better football team coming into that game. So
it's the home environment. I thought the home crowd maybe, but
right. I played Penn State in some money lines. My biggest wins were, besides Syracuse, were just I played Washington, Penn State, and Texas A&M money lines and round robin parlays, and got all of those. Those were nice. The Washington one, just to get ahead to it. I don't know if you had a bet in it, but I mean that.
I had Michigan State money line in a quarter unit parlay, so I wasn't very confident on that one.
It's ranked teams on the road or ranked teams like as an underdog will always get all the public, and they will always be fishy. So watch out.
I will say, going back to Auburn Penn State, that is my exact reasoning. I got Florida at 11 points today. That's too many points for a conference rivalry game. I don't care if they're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's too many points. I may look like a fool. Florida may lose by 24, but I like the value.
Yeah. Well, especially because the consensus now is Florida sucks, which might be true. They might be really bad, but can they get up for a big game at Tennessee? Sure. I think
Tennessee
that's one of those.
Florida one time in the past 7
Exactly. And I think that's a game where I will probably end up taking Florida too. And if Florida gets blown out, then I say, all right.
And then Florida gets blown out, and I get to be happy.
It is what it is. Right. I think I might put them in a tease though too, because you have it at 11. If you were to tease them up to like 17, God, they've got to cover 17. Come on.
Yeah. Surely. Another one that got a little hairy there for a minute, but they ended up just pulling away at the end. Vandy was down 2 touchdowns, I think, in the late third or fourth quarter.
Yes.
And they ended up coming alive and winning outright. And they hit the Vandy season win total, baby. 3 wins for Vanderbilt. And guess what? They probably aren't getting another one. Maybe Missouri.
So they better not for my win total under for them in the SEC.
Yeah.
But I'll say this, and I can't remember if I told you this or not. I told somebody they can beat Missouri.
Oh yeah.
Missouri's that bad, and I can't even remember where the game is. I don't think it really matters.
I think it's in Columbia.
They can beat Missouri. So
100%.
I'll hedge a little bit on that game, but after Missouri, I mean South Carolina is bad, but South Carolina will beat Vandy.
They'll still handle them. Another good play. This is one that you gave me. A lot of these are ones that you gave me, but Minnesota -27. Colorado.
Colorado's horrible. Colorado's horrible.
They're on the fade list. They've been on the fade list all year, and I think now it's kind of like, okay, everybody has them on the fade list, so you got to tread lightly a little bit. But that Air Force game, I mean, we were all over that one, all over this one. Minnesota scored on them at will. I also had Colorado's team total under 9.5. They didn't score at all.
Good call. See, I wanted to take that. I had it on my board. I didn't take it. Another team total that I talked myself out of. Yeah, hey, Colorado cannot stop the run at all. I mean, that was the reasoning for the game, was Ibrahim's just going to have a field day. So fade 100%. Colorado for sure. Also about Colorado, the last thing is I mean, looking at their schedule, it was like, what are the games they could win? I think it was Arizona State, Arizona, and Cal. Arizona looks decent. They're not going to beat Arizona. Cal almost beat Notre Dame. Cal's a good team. They're not going to beat Cal. I guess they beat Arizona State.
Live dog, new coach, maybe.
So I don't know.
I'm feeling good about them under 3 wins. I don't see.
Oh my god. My god. Absolutely.
And who's another one? Tulane. I didn't end up watching this game. Tulane actually won outright. They won by.
That was nice.
Yeah, we had them plus 14. They won
7.
Yeah, I mean, good game for the Blue Wave.
I was counting on the look ahead spot. I didn't think it'd be that bad of a look ahead spot. That's just tough. That's tough for K-State, man, because they had some juice to them. They got
Oklahoma this week, and I got that teaser Oklahoma -7. I'm feeling good about that one.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Who do we got next? Ole Miss -14.5. This is the game that I'm so mad that I didn't put more on.
Yeah. Well, I think so. All the public was betting Ole Miss. Every now and then, the public will have the games where they win. I think Vegas kind of throws those in there to keep people honest. But that was the one. They talk about team totals that I need to keep betting under Georgia Tech, and they play at UCF this week. I will absolutely be teasing UCF. Georgia Tech is as bad as we thought they were.
Yeah, and the thing is with Ole Miss is I talked about this before the game. So I know so many kids from Atlanta that went to Ole Miss. I knew so many kids that were going to that game. That was not going to be a rowdy home environment that Ole Miss was going to be walking into. In fact, they might have honestly had a little bit. They might have honestly had a couple numbers on their side. It might have felt like a home game. So yeah, I was all over Ole Miss in that game. That feels like I should have just made that like a 20-unit play or something, just because Georgia Tech is that bad.
Yeah, I'll be doing it this week for sure.
This was probably the biggest disappointment of the week. Wisconsin hanging 62 points.
I regret this one. I don't think I read it well, because you think about Wisconsin losing, not scoring a lot of points. I feel like I should have seen they're going to come out and want to absolutely lay the smack down. Now, I didn't think they would be able to score 60 combined points throughout their season, much less in one game, and then they give up the late touchdown to Mexico State. So one of the few losses,
I had that at 7.5. Luckily, I had that 7.5. So that gave that got me back. I bought that one.
Wow. Very nice.
So I had thankfully 7.5. So that one kept me under for that. And then, so I guess I only lost 1 unit on that because I did have the team total in the full game under. Disappointing, but when you said it at the time, I was like, "Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense." And of course, on my the show Backstreet Boys, where we do our picks, that was the one under. Every other under I had hit, and that was the one under that I chose for my like official picks, and of course the rest of mine went under.
Wisconsin will get what's coming to them this week in in Columbus.
Ohio State might undress them. I don't know, and if Ohio State doesn't undress them, it's time we're going to have a conversation about them.
Yeah.
Mississippi State -2. Not much to say about this game. They really just didn't show up.
God, well, they dominated it for the first 2.5 quarters. I mean, they had the game in their hands, and it was going to be just whoever made the first mistake and you muff a punt. I had a lot of muffed punts. Like, I want to say 3 or 4 muffed punts across the weekend through college and NFL. That
I was about to say Steelers Patriots too. That was another one.
Steelers was one, although I had the Patriots in that game. But why are there so many muffed punts? Yeah, Mississippi State. That one hurt. I don't get pissed when I lose. I get pissed when teams shoot themselves in the foot like Mississippi State did, and that one hurt. So
see, this is what we were talking about, going back to taking the over on LSU team total, which this does help us in that way. When you have a home crowd like that and you have that environment, you can win a couple games like that. Maybe the noise was what got to him, and that's why he muffed the punt.
Yeah,
that's neither here nor there. But when you have that home atmosphere, you can win a couple games like this that you absolutely should not win.
Yeah, if he catches that punt, I think Mississippi State wins. But
hey.
What can you do?
Another loss I had, Georgia State -7 first quarter. I think you had them first half, right?
So I ended up taking their team total. Because I kept trying to find the way. What's the way to bet this game? And I took team total over 40.5. They ended up They were at 39 after they scored and went for 2 instead of kicking a field goal, which was huge. So they finished at 41. So I got that one.
This was actually a push for me. So I guess I went 25-1.
We'll take it.
I just looked at it. It was 14-7 at the end of the first quarter. I don't know why I had it written down as a loss. I'll have to go back and check that. I'll update it later if I have to. And who else did we have? Yeah, I think that's about all. I think I maybe had one or two more. No, that was my last loss of the day. Do you got any before we get to the night slate, the real night slate?
Well, the real night slate. I have one that was the early morning slate for the Iowa game. Afternoon wise, no. Maybe Liberty. I can't remember what time that game started, but I had Liberty plus 17 with Wake looking ahead to Clemson. Liberty almost won the game, so
they came back at the end. That was one of the ones I think I was so glued to Syracuse I wasn't really paying attention, but
yeah, that was a nice one.
Yeah, I do love Wake Forest. I hate how much I love Wake Forest this week.
Yeah, I really need to see how the market dictates it, but I went ahead and bought Wake early. I can always buy back on Clemson if it changes, but give me Wake plus the points. They should be able to score.
I like Wake and I like Oregon State outright. I'm putting USC and Clemson on upset alert, especially USC. I love the Beavers. I'm loving Oregon State, especially in Corvallis.
We're all over Oregon State. We're the Oregon State crew this week. USC, a lot of very lucky turnovers playing these teams. Stanford turned the ball over like 3 times in the red zone and still almost backdoor covered. So Fresno
covered, did they not?
Fresno didn't cover, but Haener got hurt when Fresno was driving, about to score to keep it a close game early on in the game, and Haener got hurt. So that's kind of put an asterisk by that game. Oregon State, though, they played Fresno, Haener the full game, and only allowed like 50 more yards than USC did. Like Oregon State, they have the horses to compete. Their offense can score a lot of points. Their defense is good. And that place will be an absolute zoo for USC. So
I agree.
I like Oregon State too. I love Oregon State. Grab them at 7, 7.5. If it's at 6.5, buy it up to 7 just to be safe. But yeah,
exactly what I did. I bought them to 7. This is another first quarter. I've been loving the first quarters this year, especially good teams against bad teams. Tennessee minus 12.5. Easy. Yeah. This is another one. I will tell you, I've heard some interesting numbers in terms of unders. I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. In terms of unders, and I will be playing Rutgers and Iowa under 36. Apparently, games that low they hit. Like they just hit. And Nevada, Iowa under 40 points hit. Nevada team total under 8.5 hit. Iowa team total under 31 hit. All 3. That's a 3-1.
I stayed up till like 2:00 in the morning when that game finished. I was still awake, so it was boring. I think you knew too after the 4-hour rain delay, those unders were hitting easily. So that's the way to go. Yeah, I'll follow you on that under this week. Rutgers can beat Iowa, by the way.
Absolutely.
Rutgers is not bad. Rutgers can win that game.
Greg Schiano, cover machine.
Yes.
This was another one. This was a gut play, and it was a good one. Under 49 Miami, Texas A&M. Bad offense.
That was a good one. See, I didn't take it, but you talked about that one. That one was a good one for sure.
That was a gut play. That one wasn't. That was just I looked at the number and said no. Then I get to that number. So
yeah.
And then this was a late entry bit for me. I woke up the next day and forgot that I had even played this. Western Michigan and Pitt under 47.5. No Keaton Slovis, no problem.
Wow. What was the final score of that game?
I don't remember. Let me check.
I don't remember that either. But it wasn't
47.5. Was it close? Oh my God, it was 47. It was 34 to 13. Wow. I'm glad I forgot about that because I would have been sweating that one. They scored. Pitt scored 14 in the fourth quarter. Until then, it was 20 to 13, and it was kind of in hand. But wow.
Take them.
Yeah.
Good for Pitt. Yeah, I'd like to see Slovis back. I wanted to bet Pitt in that game too, and I didn't. But
another good win for us. We had Rice plus 12.5. Won outright.
Yes, and I had a tiny parlay, like a 5-leg parlay that had Rice money line in it, and I can't remember who the one that lost was. It was
probably Western Kentucky.
Somebody. It might have been Western Kentucky, but I can't remember. It was like a few spreads, and then Rice Moneyline, like plus 350, would have won me a ton. God.
I love it.
But I did like Rice. That's a good win. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a U play. I got to give you props on that. That's all I got. Did you have any other games that we didn't touch on?
I had Fresno. I think I threw Fresno in at the end of the lock show just cuz, and Hainer, if he stays in the game, it's probably a different game. I took off Montana State plus 14 against Oregon State, just because Montana State had some guys out for the game and they lost by 40, so that was a good call. And then
we took off Colorado State too.
Yeah, and they got waxed, so that was a good
7-38.
That was a good one there. The stat was like teams that win outright as a 17-point underdog, and then are 17-point underdogs the next week, like always cover. It was one of the more insane stats that I've seen, but that fit Washington State, and I saw that, and I was kind of like, all right, I'll stay away.
That's going to be an interesting game this week.
I
smell a rat. Oregon and Washington State, I smell a rat, but I think Oregon showed they got some chops against BYU.
Yeah, I was glad to see that. It looks good for Georgia.
Looks great for Georgia. That might be the second best win of the whole season for anybody.
Yeah. What did you overall, your best call and your worst call?
I would say just purely my call, Georgia first quarter. Anyways, just hammer the Georgia game every way, inside it out. Yeah, that one felt good, especially, and Miami A&M under 49. That one, it was just a trust what you've seen so far. And Ole Miss minus 14.5. I should have known better. Just that was a freebie.
Yeah. Fade Georgia Tech at all costs. I think mine would be I don't know. I had some good ones. I want to just say Syracuse because I was over Syracuse from the second that line opened. So and I think in Syracuse, they play Virginia this week in the Carrier Dome. A few weeks ago, I had the chance to take that Syracuse plus 2.5 a few weeks ago, and I didn't take it. And I don't know why I didn't, but they'll get another one. So
another good one was Minnesota. I didn't know how to feel about that game, but Colorado is just that bad.
Yeah, I can't remember who Colorado's playing this week.
UCLA. Does that sound right?
Oh, that's right. And UCLA's minus 20. Yeah.
I might that one. UCLA looked a little stinky last week.
They did. South Alabama's kind of a wagon, though. I think I bet them twice. Not including.
We took them week 2, I believe, or week 1, I believe.
Took them week 1, and they won as an underdog. So that is
right.
That was the good one. I think my worst
I had them
call
last week too. Plus 5.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're kind of a wagon. I think my worst call for the week would be that I sat here last week and said I'm a week early on Ohio State team total and Ohio State dominating because they didn't do it against Arkansas State. I said they could do it against Toledo. That's the spot to take them, and I didn't take it. And that's the one where they score 77 points. So I hated that I saw that score and said, damn it.
We both looked at each other. We said, we're not going to take this, and it's going to end up being the game.
Yeah. I just don't.
Vandy at plus odds I feel like that was good. That was a good one too.
That is a good one.
More wins than losses. I always love, and I would say my worst pick, probably Auburn plus 3. That was an emotional one.
It makes, if Auburn wins though, you look like a genius. Penn State was never going to come to Auburn and win. Are you kidding me?
I mean, Penn State didn't even look that great against Purdue either, and so I had a little bit of ground, and I'm like, come on, it's Sean Clifford, guys. You're supposed to be an SC. Like, let's see some resiliency here. Yeah,
I think some of the other games we didn't touch on, like Nebraska. Yikes.
Yeah, I'm glad I stayed away. Everybody, I got to the point where it was too many people I knew betting Nebraska, and I was like, okay, now this is shifting in the other direction.
Yeah, no, I was one of those people on Nebraska, so that was that. Florida barely beats a horrible USF team, but that's kind of what you want if you're going to bet Florida, is you want them to come off kind of a bad game and have everybody think they suck, whether they do
That's
or not.
That's why I got them at 11 points, so.
Yeah. And then Northwestern, did you take the Northwestern team total under with me, or was that just me?
I don't think so. Who did they play?
They played Southern Illinois.
Oh.
They were double-digit favorites, and they lost. So Northwestern under 4. Right. Northwestern under 4 looks great because the reasoning for that was Duke, Miami of Ohio, and Southern Illinois. They could lose 2 of those games, and then they beat Nebraska week 1. I was like, well, maybe they're a lot better. That's not the case. They got killed by Duke. They lose this game. It's not a lock. They beat Miami of Ohio. I think they're -5 in that game. So that's now an automatic, like, I'm going to go ahead and cash that ticket now. So that was a good one. And then Kansas, I think we talked about Kansas I said there's a world where Kansas could go 3-0 and it's like Vanderbilt, you just cash it early. And that's exactly what happened.
This week. I'm on Kansas this week. I hope I'm not late. To Kansas. But Duke's not a bad team. Hilarious that this is a 6-0 game, 3-0 versus 3-0. I think College Game Day should have went just for the experience.
Just for the memes. I think everybody wanted it to go. I was right there with it. I didn't know they were going until this morning. They were going to Florida, Tennessee. That sucks.
Yeah. And we're both on this one. Iowa State -1. I bought them down to -1 because I don't have the money line yet and I don't have the patience.
Yes. So. Yeah, that's smart. I would recommend taking the money line over a spread. I think now they're -2 or 2.5. I really would just lay the money line if you can, because these last 5 games they've played each other have been very close games, and including last year was a 2-point game. The home team in this game has won the last 4. I think Baylor might be a little bit overrated. And Iowa State is better, I think, than people think. They're very quietly getting a little bit of hype, just because they have some good playmakers. Their quarterback's not bad. They can win this game. And like we said with Michigan State, Baylor's a carbon copy this week, a ranked team on the road as an underdog. The people have and will flock to bet Baylor, and I love Iowa State.
Well, this is a hedge spot for me too because I have Baylor to win the Big 12. So.
There you go. Perfect.
But other than that, I think that's all we got. We'll obviously have some more plays. I only have the 5 that we've talked about so far this week. Nothing else that I'm head over heels for. But I've been looking at the board. There's nothing that's really jumping out at me, which is probably good coming off a week where I picked 26 picks. So
yes,
I'm going to try to keep it to about 12. That's usually where I'm at because I was 9-3 in week 2. Yeah, those bigger numbers. I ain't gonna go 20-6 every week. That's not sustainable.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to happen here, and usually it happens early where we just get absolutely just brutally murdered. So I
hope it's not this week because I love Oregon State and I love Wake.
I know.
I'll take a back on Florida because I can take special pleasure in Florida getting beat.
Yeah, that might happen. The 3-11 week is coming though. It is coming very soon. I can see it in the horizon. So,
but hey. If you've been riding with us so far, you don't have to worry about that because you got a comfortable cushion.
Exactly. We're making a lot of money right now. So, yeah. I'm hyped.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it. We appreciate y'all tuning in as always. We hope you've been playing along with us. And, yeah, we'll continue. We'll have our pick show probably Wednesday or Thursday sometime later this week, and we'll have our official plays. We'll probably be both about 10 or 12. But, yeah, those 5 early, those are the 5 we like early. So try and hop on those if you can. But, yeah. We'll talk to you guys soon. See you.